The little water you see leaked out of there after I took the cap off and before I put the plumbing on, just so you know it was in the pipe. But anyway, I set up, nothing's fastened yet, but I set up the pipe coming through the floor, and in the two coming off, here's a valve here which will go to this one, and then the valve here actually attached, and I crimped this on here, and I'm checking for leaks here before I proceed. I just put a little bit of water in there, maybe a quart or so, and I'm going to let that sit a while, and if that passes the leak test, then I'll put a little bit more in and just get a little bit of water in that tank before I go ahead and finish everything up. But I'm going to want to make sure there's no leaks here, because if there's a leak here, I can still wrench on this. With this being free, I can still adjust and wrench on this, but with it all tied in, I realized I'll never be able to adjust these connections again. So I definitely have to leak test it now. I'm going to put a little bit more water in it. So it's just a matter of pouring it in the top. Why am I not focusing? There's that. And I don't think that I'm going to have any problems, because there's no pressure. It's a low pressure system. So I think it's going to be fine, but I'm going to leave it just to be sure. Again, this is I've got the valve off. If I turn it on, I'd probably have a gusher coming out of there. But yep, there it is. I'm going to let it sit for a while and come back to it later. If there's no drips forming, no leaks in any of these connections here, then we have a green light and I can continue on downstairs. Now, I do want to put a drip pan under these. I originally had planned on putting a drip pan under these. I haven't found one that fits, so it is something I plan on doing. Even if I have to make something out of pond liner or something, I will come up with an idea here. But I do plan on having some kind of a drip pan and then a drain going down into the shower down below. So, well, it is really, really hot. I'm melting up here, so I'm going to go back downstairs with the air conditioner and come back to this later. I do believe this is going to be fine. There's nothing. I've got Teflon tape and everything. I don't think there's going to be any trouble. But I'm going to leave it for a while. I don't want to rush it. Dark upstairs, so I've got a special LED light. A little sneak peek I'm going to give you. I am reviewing a product, a special product, called Sunjack. And this is just a part of the package I had received. And I'm using the LED light to light my, my space here. Well, after about 2.5, 3 hours, there's no leaks. So I've got myself a couple more gallons of water. And I'm going to pour this in here. And then I'm going to make the final connections. Turn on the valve, and I should have water in the kitchen. Exciting, exciting moment in the tiny house. Well, nothing to do now but to try pouring in some water and see what happens. I'm both nervous and excited, I have to say. Because now I've got 1.5 gallons of water inside this tank. I am nervous. I don't want to go, I think I don't want to go more than 1 gallon for testing, 1.5 gallons of water. In case anything really goes wrong. I brought in 4 gallons, but I'm not going to use it all right now until I know things are not going to be leaking downstairs. Or anywhere for that matter. A little sticky. It's been a hot day again today. The off-grid homestead. Okay. Center that. Looking good. Bring in closer if you want. The final connections. I'm leaving. I've got to connect this. Of course I do. I've got to connect all of this. I think I'm going to do these connections before I do these, so that way I won't forget accidentally and mess up. That would be a horrible thing to forget. Getting the first bite on it with these grippers is tough. This tool. Hope I'm not in your way. I love this clamp. This plier. This is one of the most amazing tools. This was a gift from somebody last year. And it is really, really great. So good to have. I never would have thought I'd be doing so much with plumbing, but of course I didn't know how much I'd be building my own home. Oh, those interfere with one another almost when they're in the off position. Maybe I should have them this way. Which way is on? That way is on. Off. Yes, I'm going to have to do it that way. That one will be that way. On will be that way. Okay. I want that off, but just thinking out loud, I want to make sure I don't mess things up. Oh, getting the first grip is so awkward. What I like about PEX is it still can be moved and adjusted a little bit even after you've tightened the clamps. This, for example, perfect example. I can still twist this around. Okay, now I want to make sure it's off before I do anything. That way when I connect this one, water won't be flowing out and onto the floor, which would not be a good thing to have. Not at all. And this is off. As soon as they turn it on, we're going to have flow downstairs and I'll be running up and down like a madman. Oh, there's no clamps in here. Good thing. I gotta check here. So there's still some flex in here, so it's all good with being able to work and adjust. So I'll be able to pull this up a little bit if I need to from downstairs. I got some flexible room to work with, so when I put a tray underneath these, I'll just have to empty the tanks and then I can go from there. Well, we're doing it. The final connections. Can't see. Looking good. Advantage of a tiny house is it doesn't take much plumbing to hook it up either. It didn't take much PEX at all. I still have quite a bit left. And that main roll of tubing. And of course one day I've got to do the hot water. Maybe one day I'll have some outdoor hookups. Okay, now the big moment, the moment I'm nervous about. Alright, I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to run up and downstairs and just make sure everything's good before I flip this valve. This is it, right there. This is all that's stopping water from flowing into the house, right here. So, I have to admit I am a little nervous. So, I'm going to check things out and I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, here comes the scary moment. I've checked everything as well as I can. Might as well do all or nothing, huh? Alright, let's run downstairs, make sure there's no leaks. Okay, no water running through here. That faucet is off. The next place, cats are in the way at that moment. No leaks here. I just want to make sure there's no water pouring out anywhere. Okay, then I should maybe get pressure in the sink. Maybe? Nothing. Maybe it's gonna take a minute, I guess. Well, nothing. Of course, there's no pressure upstairs either. Huh. Alright, well, I've got to go look through things and see what's up. I might need more pressure up there to do it. Then again, there's also a lot of air in the lines, so it might take a few minutes. So, let me put the camera down and go run up and down and all around and make sure there's no leaks. I've got drippage. I poured a 2nd gallon of water in, so it's 2.5 gallons to get drippage. And that's a start. I've got the water faucet on full high, and what I had to do was I had to purge the lines underneath here. I took a plastic cup and I turned on the hot water valve and it purged the lines a bit. And then I also did the same in the bathroom. Cats are under my feet everywhere. I had to purge the line here, and that helped me get the air bubbles out. And so 2.5 gallons to get dripping. I'm going to put another gallon in there and see if I get any water coming out. Alright, I put another gallon in. That's 3.5 gallons. Dripping. The problem with this particular faucet is it's a pull-out faucet, which means there's a whole lot of hose that pressure has to go through. So the bathroom is going to have a lot more pressure. Oh, I forgot to install the weight on there. The bathroom is going to have a whole lot more pressure than the kitchen will. So I'm going to take this, open it up and install it on there so it's pulls that down all the time. So that's full on cold right there. So that's 3.5 gallons. I'll put another gallon in and see what happens. Okay, 4.5 gallons. I think there's too much air in the lines. I think it's going to take time to purge all that air, because the this has just got such a long... I'm not even sure what this does. Spray. I'm gonna have to read the instructions. Anyway. That's all the pressure I've got right now with 4.5 gallons. I am going to leave it open for a little bit and see if it'll purge the lines a little bit. And I might have to go get 4 more gallons of water and see what that'll do as well. It might just take some pressure to get all the air out, because this one has a huge loop, goes down and around and then back up in, and then it comes through from the I have pressure underneath. I have quite a bit of good water on. If I open up the hot water valve, water comes out, a nice even stream. So the problem is this big loop on this thing goes around and down and out, and I had to get this type of a faucet because of the way this sink was set up. It was the only one I could get that would fit the single hole setup for this sink. It's unfortunate that that is the sink that I got back in the day when I was scavenging up materials for the tiny house. But I think I'll be able to manage it and just get some more water in there. Well, there's 7.5 gallons of water. It's a faster drip. The problem is I've got all those loops of hose under there. This is a awkward faucet for gravity feed. I've got to get all that air out of the lines, and I think it'll finally run. I think more water in the tanks will help, but I'm hand carting from the landlady's house, and I can't do any more today. That's 8 gallons, and she doesn't like too much water being taken out at once, so and that's it for today. I think I'm gonna see if I can blow pressure into that tank though. I think that'll make the difference. Get that air out of those lines. I think it'll make all the difference.